and the Beard. My name's Dylan. I am the bookie. His name's Alex. He is the Beard, and together we are the bookie and the Beard. Today I'm joined by a man who not only offered me one of the worst trades in fantasy football history, but he's also a professional coordinator of competitive sports. He's a legend at Hardpoint and a good friend of my co-host Alex. Please welcome Mr. Daniel Turner.
Hello. I think if it's Bookie and the Beard, I'm the Neck Beard. So if we wanted to add a little new name for me today, it's the Neck Beard because I didn't feel like shaving this week. So.
Right,
Yes, it is an honor to be on as the first guest. Actually, I know you had another person on, but I'm the first guest, and definitely will be a recurring guest, I'm sure, because this is going to be off the charts good.
Yeah, we should be in for a treat. Should be an entertaining one. Danny, first thing I kind of want to talk to you about, I know you're a coordinator of competitive sports, but you're also the coordinator of the QGA, and I kind of wanted to ask you when that is coming back. I know that I have purchased the new 2K21 game, and I'm excited to start playing the QGA, and was just wondering when that's going to start back up here.
Yeah, so call me by my correct title. It's the commissioner. Thank you. So if you call me by my correct title, I'm happy to continue to talk on this. We will be lucky to see return of this in 2021. Back in when we return from a nice winter break, as the courses start to warm back up and whatnot. I have been fortunate enough to purchase an Xbox today. So once I get that in, we can start to fire it up and see where we go from there. But yes, we are excited about the return of the QGA. It's been a while. It's been, I guess, since early August. It feels like at this point. And I'm the reigning Masters champion. And I think the overall champion as well. So it's fitting that it returns.
I might need you to check that.
All right, I can look that up.
I'm pretty
Luckily,
sure I'm the I'm the one who won the most seasons of the QGA.
Well, that is.
I don't think that's correct.
Disqualified for cheating, as they say.
Yeah, well, you were cheating. So.
Yes, you were cheating. Playing the courses early is illegal in the QGA, as we went over. Luckily, Jarvo, to confirm, I won the most recent season of the QGA.
All right.
You came
I guess
in.
I'll just have to win the next, 5. Oh, yeah, it's because, I started playing on Masters Club because of
I'm going to tell you.
Okay, I'm gonna start winning again.
But yeah, 7 seasons down. We'll get to kick back off with season 8 here once we return from the winter hiatus.
Good to hear. Excited for it. And I know both you are involved in fantasy football, and I kind of just wanted to get your guys' opinions. I know you guys were going up against each other this week in the semis, so why don't you go ahead and talk about how that went for you, Danny?
Yeah, Alex. Well, actually, you know what? I'll let the Beard over there talk about that. The Beard, why don't you talk about how it went?
All right, Neck Beard. So, every week I go up against Danny. He has a monster week because he's, the luckiest person. He has the Bears, 2 of the Bears players who, do nothing all year. And then the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks of the season, which he plays me 2 of them, they go off. I mean, it's like, clockwork for him. So he puts up 180 points. I put up 150. If I was playing anybody else in this league, I would have won. But, I have to play the one who's hot. And for that matter, let's go Ryan.
All right. So, they do say if ifs and buts, we'd all shoot 72. So, I mean.
Well, okay. Right. Let's correct the record on this. First, I am the second best team in the league, and the only reason why I was in the quarterfinals is because I was behind the best team who only lost 1 game. Now, granted, that 1 game was to Alex, but I only lost, I think 3 games total all year long. So, for starters, that's why he even faced me. I scored the second most points in the league this year, so it's not like my team is a bunch of scrubs. My team is stacked. And then I will also call into the question that he's bringing up about the Chicago Bears players. Those players are Allen Robinson and David Montgomery, who both are top 15 players at their position. So it's not like they're scrubs. They're
Correct.
very good at their
But
position.
if you look at David Montgomery's numbers, the last 3 weeks he's put up 20 plus. You know what? You know how many times he played me in those last 3 weeks? Twice.
Okay,
you look at the weeks before that. You look at every single week before that. He's putting up 8, 10.
Now, Alex,
8.
I may not be in fantasy, but I know the way to win in fantasy is to play the hot hand, and that just seems like what Danny's doing here.
Look,
mind you, he has Derrick Henry, who for the past few times I've played him have put up over 30 points. So it's not like he's not getting an effort from his team. Derrick Henry 2 weeks ago put up like 38, and this week put up 36. So it's not like he's not getting anything from his team. My team's just better. That's just what it is. And the crazy part is David Montgomery and Allen Robinson weren't even my top 2 scoring players. Weren't even my top 3. My top 3 scoring players still would have blown them out of the water. My team just straight up whooped them. I mean, that's all it is.
Look, all I gotta say is let's go Colin, let's go Mike, and let's go Ryan.
This is salty. His team sucks.
I mean, I am salty,
Have
but
fun
I'll get
watching
over
on the
it.
bench.
Oh, I will. As long as I can beat, Tommy and Justin, I'll feel better about myself.
As you should.
Anyway,
I'm just waiting for Tommy. He's got to buy a bottle in Arizona. He's already got the money saved up for it and everything.
He better.
Anyway, moving on. Danny, I know you mentioned to Alex there that he would be watching from the bench. It's kind of what Carson Wentz is going to have to do from now on, it looks like. I mean, Jalen Hurts came in 167 through the air and 107 on the ground. It looks like Jalen Hurts is that spark that the Eagles needed. And even one of his players backed him up and said, yeah, he just brings a new life to this team. And that just kind of puts Doug Peterson in that tough situation on what he has to do. And just kind of curious on what your guys' thoughts were on that.
Well, so I think you need to the scary thing or the questionable thing is with any rookie quarterback is what truly is their ceiling. And I think, when you don't know necessarily what someone's bringing to the table, it's a lot easier for that player to go off. And I think, we kind of may have a case of that right now. Jalen Hurts isn't a bad quarterback. He did good things in college. But, how that translates, that's the question. So will he be able to consistently put it up, or is it, beginner's luck sort of thing where they don't have film on him, they don't necessarily know what he's going to go out and do? I think that's a question to look at from that. And hopefully for the Eagles, it's not just a flash in the pan, because to spend a second-round pick on a guy that you already had your franchise quarterback who you're paying $100 million to now spend a second-round pick on another quarterback to, in theory, sit behind him, that's kind of a scary thing if you're the Eagles, and you may have to rely. Now you got to try to move that $100 million man in that situation.
Well, the way that I look at it is Doug Peterson is 11-2 without Carson Wentz quarterback. That's going back to Nick Foles and obviously last week with Jalen Hurts. You're right; they don't have any footage on him. They'll get footage from this week. It'll be a little bit different of a game plan moving ahead. I see Jalen Hurts being a lot more like Lamar Jackson. So teams are going to start playing him like Lamar and make him throw the ball. But I mean, I said it 2 or 3 weeks ago that they should have started him sooner. I stand by that.
Well, I don't know if he's like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is way faster than Jalen Hurts is. Jalen Hurts can beat you with his legs, but can use his legs as an accessory, but he's not necessarily going to beat you with his legs.
Well, I mean it in the style of how he played his game last week. Because he had 107 yards on the ground, and he only threw for 170. I mean, it looked a lot like Lamar in the game against Cleveland, where the first half before he had to take a dump, he had 170 yards on the ground or something like that, had less than 100 yards in the air.
Yeah, I think what Alex is trying to say here is that there's certain bubbles you put quarterbacks into, and Jalen Hurts kind of falls into a Lamar and Vic type player where he does use his legs a lot more, as opposed to like the Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes who are able to extend plays and have a big arm, and then you have your Tom Brady's and your Peyton Mannings that are kind of more of a pocket player, and then you have people like Big Ben, who we saw go up against someone that I think is very similar to him, and Josh Allen. And I know I mentioned this before, but I love to watch Josh Allen's games. He's just a really good quarterback, in my opinion. Huge frame, which is why I think they compare him to Big Ben. And, I mean, I don't know what's going on out there in Pittsburgh, man.
Well, I want to circle back to Hurts real quick to your comparison piece. I would disagree that he is a Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick, because, again, they are strict running. They can throw. The athleticism, the speed is next level for the quarterback position. I think Hurts can run, but that's not his thing. He's very much the field general that is able to use his legs to extend plays. Also,
he's a lot like Russell.
What'd you say?
So he's a lot like Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I would say it's more of that style where it's not like he's not going to just run all over you, but he has quickness. He's athletic, but his arm isn't this like out of this world arm talent. Where I think Wentz, that's where he differs from Wentz. Wentz has this arm talent, can throw the ball a mile in the air and all that. Whereas Hurts may not be able to do that, but he's going to make the smart, calculated plays. That's what he did throughout college. That made him successful. So.
Well, I'm curious to see how that's going to translate to the NFL once these teams actually start, getting that film, because we've seen a lot of quarterbacks who just don't translate. It's about college is a completely different game, in my opinion. I don't watch a whole lot of college, but when I do, it just seems like it's different. And so, the way that he translates, at the beginning, he's gonna tuck the ball and run more because he's more comfortable with that aspect instead of trying to force it into tight coverage and trust his arm in certain situations.
Yep, I agree.
Anyway, kind of keeping on with the Lamar Jackson. I know we mentioned him a little bit, and Alex mentioned what he thought about the situation when he had to go in and into the locker room there. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Paul Pierce. I don't know if it reminded you of that, but it is kind of a similar situation there. So in case you guys didn't watch the game, it was a good game. All of a sudden, Lamar goes down with what the announcers tell us is cramps. We come to see him come out of the locker room and basically lead them back to a victory on the road in Cleveland. And like I was saying, it just reminds me of the whole Paul Pierce deal. And
well, Dylan, to be fair, Paul Pierce injured his leg and had to be wheelchaired. He didn't have to take a poop. He just had to be wheelchaired because his leg hurt, and he miraculously recovered, probably with some like healing salts or something like that, and then was able to continue playing after that. The brown spot on his pants, that was photoshopped in there later, I believe.
Oh, man.
Well, it did come out where Paul Pierce even admitted, he said, I just had to go to the bathroom, man.
It's a natural thing. It has to happen, I suppose. It just sucks when it happens in the middle of a game. But Lamar Jackson was able to recover. He got Trace McSorley hurt enough to where he's able to just sneak back in the game and lead them to victory.
Well, the timing of it was pretty, impeccable, we'll say. McSorley goes down, he's grabbing his knee, and then the camera automatically shoots to the locker room, and then you see Lamar Jackson running out like he's Superman. Like, this is like a production of Broadway or something. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was watching last night.
Part of the game is art, Jarbo.
Yeah. Well, and then, on top of it, he comes out the first play. It looks like he's going to run for 30 yards and then just throws a dime to Hollywood Brown and touchdown. It's like, what?
Yeah, and that's something he hasn't done all year. He's barely thrown it to Hollywood. That's annoying because I have him on one of my teams.
He dropped like 4 balls last night.
Yeah.
it was a fun game to watch.
Weird stuff going on in Cleveland last night, and weird stuff going on in Cleveland in the baseball world too. I mean, we saw that the Washington football team was forced to change their name from the Redskins. Now it looks like Cleveland is going to have to
be the
change
Cleveland
their name
baseball
from the
team.
Indians. I'd be curious to see if Cleveland goes with the Washington football team like idea on renaming their team, and they just say Cleveland baseball team.
It would be Cleveland Baseball Club probably, but I'm thinking they're going to go more the route of the Steamers. So keep an eye on that. That's high on the Vegas boards for a team name change.
Funny how the Steamers, as we were talking about Lamar Jackson taking a dump.
I'm just saying. I don't know what you're talking about. It's about their rich history in the Rust Belt and the railroad industry. Steamer is a way to describe a train. So that's what they're really going to be going after, is getting that heritage.
I want to go back to the Cleveland football real quick. The bettor's nightmare of the -3. That the safety that they covered it with lost some people with a lot of money.
Exactly.
But that's why you play until the final whistle.
This is true, unfortunately. Luckily, I don't bet. I leave that to the bookie.
And I leave that to Mike McDaniel. But going back to the name change, I mean, to me, I understand, what the situation is, and they're trying to be culturally appropriate. Continue on that trend, which is fine. It's the owner's prerogative to name the team whatever he wants to name it. If he wants to name it the Cleveland Baker Mayfields, he can do whatever he wants. But
it'd be kind of weird to name a baseball team that, don't you think?
Well, Baker is, he's Cleveland's saving grace right now. I mean, they're 9-4.
You could just name the LeBrons,
Yeah, we're just in LA right now. Although he was tweeting last night watching the game. He was enjoying it. I mean, it was a great game to watch. But it'll be interesting to see what they change the name to, whether they adopt the Washington football team mentality for a few years and then figure out what they're going to name them, or name them the Steamers. I mean, it'll be weird regardless. But we'll
don't discount the Steamers yet. I think the Steamers have a very good chance. I mean, you think it goes well with the Browns as well, so I think we could have something going on here. I mean, you can just imagine a train logo. I mean, it's perfect. Maybe a photo of someone's chest. I don't know.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one out there in Cleveland. And Alex, I'm kind of glad you circled back because it kind of reminded me of basically, I'm just going to keep it straight. I just want to talk about the bums of the NFL right now. Cody Parkey, how does he have a job? Dan Bailey, how does he have a job? And Mike McCarthy, how does he have a job? I know Jerry Jones just came out and said that Mike McCarthy's good for another year. Don't know how. Terrible. You can see the record down there, 4-9, garbage. How is he allowed to coach that team still? Dan Bailey,
in his defense,
he's a head case right now. He's a head case. He's missed 10 points, cost the Vikings potentially a game that would lead them into the playoffs. Now they're trailing, I think, the Cardinals, and it's tough time for the Vikings right now, and there's nothing you can say to him. Cody Parkey, I just don't understand how the NFL gave him a job again. I mean, the Browns, look at that game, you say the 4 points he missed, they could be up by 1 even after the Tucker field goal. I mean, sure, it may not have played out exactly that way, but it would have been a different outcome of the game. And you can't have that good of a team with that poor of a kicker. So just kind of curious on your thoughts about the bumps of the NFL.
So, McCarthy, in his defense, he doesn't have Dak. I believe if Dak doesn't go down, they win the NFC. and that's hard for me to say considering I love my team. Um, but Dak is that team. Um, so I understand why Jerry Jones is allowing McCarthy one more year. Hopefully Dak comes back, comes healthy, and they can play well from there.
Yeah, but you see Washington though with Ron Rivera on a 4-game win streak now, first time since 2016, I believe, with Alex Smith, who's not supposed to be the starting QB, and then even Alex Smith goes down, and they bring in Dwayne Haskins to back up for him, and even he's able to keep them positive enough to win that game. I mean, it's got to come down to management of your players at that point, and Mike McCarthy's just not doing a good enough job. I mean, I'm going back to that punt call again. Why would you do that? I mean, you can't be making calls like that as the head coach.
Well, so he's made some odd calls. I would agree with Alex in the sense that having Dak go down when you've essentially built an offense around one guy, and the Dak style of play is very different than the Red Rockets style of play and Andy Dalton. So I think it's important to take that into consideration. Now, granted, has he done a great job? No. Their offensive line is atrocious. Zeke doesn't really seem to do anything, at least in the games I've witness. So I think they have a solid receiving core. They don't really have a tight end either, and then their secondary is kind of questionable. So I think that there are some holes in that team that aren't necessarily McCarthy's fault, but Dak in the beginning of the season was able to make it look like a functional offense, which was able to kind of carry them forward throughout it. I agree that the punt call in the Thanksgiving game was one of the most fantastic calls I've ever seen as a Washington football team. So thank you to Mike for doing that, especially on like their own 30-yard line, which is even wilder. I mean, if you're going to talk about coaches that still have a job, I mean, the coach I would look at is Doug Peterson in Philly, another NFC East team, because the fact that he has had his team this year and they have played terrible. So that would be more questionable. I think Alex's point about Carson, Doug Peterson without Carson Wentz, his record without him is wild. You would think Carson Wentz isn't a terrible quarterback, so you'd think he would be better with him, but something isn't clicking there. But I would put Doug Peterson more on the bum list, and I'd put Mike McCarthy at this point. I think that could very well change next year because I don't think Mike McCarthy's the man for that job.
Anyway, NFC East, hottest division in football right now.
Yes, we are. To go back to the kickers, I think the kickers will always have a job in the NFL. It's amazing how much they get passed around from team to team, even if they suck. I mean, you think like Graham Gano for the Redskins was terrible. Yep. He had the Graham Gano good moniker, and then he goes to, I think he went to Carolina right after and like lights it up in Carolina for a couple of years. Then they drop him, and then he goes, I think he's in New York right now. So like, it's amazing how much kickers just bounce around, despite the fact that they cannot kick for one team, and then they go kick and they kick a good couple of years, and then they got to bounce around again because they suck somewhere else. Kickers are the weirdest position, the weirdest thing about the NFL ever. I don't know. I don't get it.
The only one who has that consistent job and is going to keep it is Justin Tucker.
Yeah.
Harrison Butker. Harrison Butker.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's amazing how that carousel of kickers. I mean, Danny was just talking about it. When Gano had his issue, and then he goes somewhere else and kicks like it's nothing. Like, I mean, that's just the way the kickers work. Parkey will get fired, and then he'll go somewhere else and make 10 straight or something along those lines.
It's like Greg the Leg Zerline out of when he was in LA. He seemed like he was going to be with the Rams forever, and now he's on the Cowboys, and he's struggling with the Cowboys. So it just as they go through these weird phases, and then obviously the team, there's so many of them, they're expendable. So someone just releases and they get picked up, kick well in camp, and then they stick around. Kickers are a very weird breed, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just kind of like golf to me. I mean, with kickers and golfers, it's all between the ears. It's
like a closer in baseball.
Between the ears.
Yeah, like closers in baseball is like you rarely find the one that you stick with your entire time. Like they bounce around every couple years because same thing. It's all between the ears, and once that gets messed up, they're in rough shape.
So this is the part of the segment. You guys all know at this point, you've been listening. for a few weeks now, hopefully, where we talk about NFL and make our picks for this week. Danny, I know you're excited to do this, considering your first time picker. I know Ryan wanted to see some change on the show, and having a educated person picking, he said, would greatly benefit. So I'm glad you're here for this.
Well, I want to give Ryan a shout out too. Ryan, because he didn't get a shout out last week, and I'm a little upset on his behalf. Ryan, for the Steelers Redskins game, predicted the score perfectly. Prediction, who would win and the score perfectly in our group chat. Now, granted, the way they got there was different than Ryan predicted, but he was still correct in the final score. So big shout to Ryan.
Not fault on Alex there, considering I'm not in the group chat with you guys, and Alex is the one that knows about that. So
look,
we did talk about it.
I'm not here to blame anyone, but I'm just saying I want to give a shout out to Ryan for his correct prediction. Now, last week's game he was way off, but I want to give a shout out for that other game.
Yeah, anyway, shout out to you, Ryan, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Thursday night football, we have the Chargers at the Raiders. Raiders coming off a tough loss to the Colts. Colts look good right now. Possibly one of the best interceptions I've ever seen in my life. I'm sure it's one of the best you guys have seen too, but with that said, give me the Raiders to bounce back this week. 28-10. We have the money line at plus 140 for the Chargers and minus 175 for the Raiders, with the spread at 3.5. Give me the Raiders to cover that, and with the over and under at 54.5, I'm gonna go ahead and take the under this week.
Yeah, I'm going to say probably Raiders over the Chargers as well, but it's going to be a closer game than, I don't remember what you predicted, but it's not going to be that. That was the first thing that clicked in my head. Yeah, it's not going to be that. I think it's going to be probably like a 35, 30 game. I'm hoping for that, especially because I have Herbert going a couple leagues, so I need him to score me some touchdowns. He's got kind of slow recently, so I'm hoping that staying on the West Coast would allow him to kind of bounce back. So I'm saying Raiders 35-30.
All right, I'm gonna do. I think it's gonna be closer than what Dylan thinks, but I also think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Chargers are hot garbage. I think it's going to be 21-17. Raiders win.
All right, on to the next game here. We have Saturday day football, similar to the one the Steelers had with Washington a couple weeks ago. Bills at the Broncos. Give me the Bills in a big win, 35-10. Josh Allen slinging that rock to Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley. Bills minus 286 on the money line and plus 225 for the Broncos, with the spread at 6.5. Give me the Bills to cover, but this one could be a toss-up. Broncos do play good teams tough like they do the Chiefs. So that's one you're going to have to look for. And with the over and under at 50, give me the under.
I'm going to go Bills. I really like Josh Allen. I think he's kind of entertaining to watch, especially because it's like organized chaos. Like, you never really know what you're going to get. It's like watching, when you're playing quarterback at recess in like fifth grade and you're just like running around chaos and just slinging the ball in every direction and doing things that don't make any sense.
It's backyard football. It's like Ben early in his career.
So, well, no, but not even that. Like, but that's the thing. Like, Ben can never run. Ben is just a big guy. Josh Allen can run, and when he runs around, he just throws the ball over the place. It's impressive. But I'm going to go Josh Allen. I'm going to say that they win like 42 to probably like 24. I think the Broncos can put up points when they want. They don't always want to. They don't always have a quarterback to do it. But I think they can score this week. But I think the Bills will run away with this.
I got the Bills winning this one pretty big. 35-21. I love the Bills. I said it week in and week out. They're Josh Allen.
AFC, best team in the NFL. Best team.
I think they might. Like I said, I think between them and the Chiefs, they're two of the two best teams in the AFC. Last week, a quarter into the Chiefs game, I was like, oh boy, I guess it's the Bills are the best team in the AFC. But that's why you play 4 quarters. But yeah, I think the Bills I wouldn't be surprised if you see them in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs.
Yep. Definitely look for Josh Allen to sling that rock this week. Anyway, moving on. The next game is Saturday night football. Yes, it is on Saturday. It's the Panthers at the Packers. Give me the Packers in a big win, 31-13. Panthers have plus 290 on the money line, and Packers minus 385. 8.5 on the spread. Give me the Packers to cover, but I feel like the sports books are trying to kind of tempt us in here with this one. They might know something. And then with the over and under at 51, I'll take the under this week.
Packers will win. I'm saying like 28-7. Panthers looks like they're going to be without McCaffrey this week. And now, granted, Mike Davis has played admirably, but it's going to be cold up there in Green Bay, especially on a Saturday night. It's supposed to be 26 degrees, and I don't think, as someone who also lives in North Carolina, I don't think the Panthers are going to want that smoke, so as they say. So I think Packers in a good one, especially since the Panthers won't have McCaffrey.
Yeah, Packers are obviously the better team. I have the Packers winning probably 35-17. I don't think it'll be close at all.
Also, Teddy Bridgewater wears gloves, and that's illegal, I think.
It's soft is what it is, basically.
Yeah, so you can imagine it's going to go worse for him playing in the cold.
Yep, exactly. So, anyway, in a place where it's not cold at all, we're going to go to the Dome out there in Indy. Texans at the Colts. Give me the Colts in a repeat victory, 26-20. Yes, I know it's the same exact score, but give me the Colts in a close game against the division rival Houston Texans.
We lost the beard. So I'm going to say Texans over the Colts this time. I think the Texans are hot right now. Cooks is playing well. Or not Cooks. Deshaun Watson's playing well.
Really?
What?
They're hot after a big loss to the Bears?
Yes, Watson's playing pretty well right now, and I'm granted it's a loss is a loss. Losses happen. But I think that overall the team is clicking in a positive direction. Now, you got to keep in mind last week they didn't have David Johnson, which is a huge loss for them. Obviously, Will Fuller being out because he got suspended after the Thanksgiving game that he put up is pretty funny. But I think that they will bounce back. I think Deshaun Watson will lead them with a hopefully healthy David Johnson and a non-game time decision for Brandon Cooks. I'm going to say Texans over the Colts, 24-20.
One thing I did want to mention, though, right now with the picking the Colts, ever since we started the podcast, I am undefeated in my picks with the Colts. So I don't know if we're looking at a Justin Tucker situation here where I might miss one, but hopefully Colts will keep it going, keep their playoff chances.
How bold of you to pick one of the best defenses in the league to win each week. That's very bold of you. It's like picking the Patriots back in the day to win. Going on a limb there, Dylan, I'm proud of you.
Well, I mean, I did pick the Titans to win against the Colts whenever they did beat them, so. And it was a big victory, so. Anyway, it doesn't look like we have Alex anymore, but we're just going to keep it moving. Like we were saying about the Titans, let's go ahead and just talk about them. The Lions at the Titans this week. Give me Titans in a massive, massive victory, 30-3.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go that bold with it, especially if the Lions can get DeAndre Swift back. And I think he played last week, but if he can continue to be healthy. The Titans aren't a team to be messed with, I don't think. But I'm going to say Titans will win. 30-3 is a little bold. I'm going to go 35-24.
Titans and Lions. I think Derrick Henry's going to have another, 200-yard game. He's already had 4 in the last, 2 years or something like that?
Yeah, 2 of them are against me in fantasy football.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess maybe he won't have it because, I'm not playing you this week anymore. But I do think the Titans are going to win this game. I think it's going to be pretty easily won. I'd say 28-13.
All right, and moving on. I really don't want to talk about this game because it is the worst team in football, but kind of have to. Jets at Rams. Give me Rams in a blowout, 34-10 this week.
Yeah, the Rams, I think, are going to easily handle this one, and I hope they do because I'm starting their defense in our fantasy league. So I'm going to go Rams in a burner. I'm going to say 28-0.
Yeah, it's going to be – I'm going to go even more on a limb, and I'm going to say they get a field goal. And it's going to be another game like this last week where they're going to lose probably 47-3.
Wow.
That is
back games where they lose 40+ to 3.
Well, so do you think the Jets won a game this year?
No, definitely.
What a gift Adam Gase is giving that organization as he gets fired at the end of the season of a first-round pick.
Well, and that's the thing.
First overall pick.
We talked about it the last couple of weeks. If I'm Trevor Lawrence, I might stay at Clemson.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely not messing with the Jets.
Yeah, it's amazing how a team can be so bad. I don't even remember the Lions being this bad when they went 0-16.
I don't know. It's a tough one out there, but anyway, moving on. Next game, have a team that beat another a couple weeks ago, big in score similar to the one that Alex just mentioned. The Falcons, whenever they took down the Raiders, 41-6, I believe. Let's go ahead and talk about them. We have the Buccaneers at Atlanta this week. Give me the Bucs in a good game, 27-26. Atlanta's the toughest team in the world to bet on, but so are the Bucs this year. Honestly, I mean, Tom Brady, you never know what you're going to get. If you're going to get 5 deep bombs incomplete or 5 deep bombs complete. I mean, we saw him throwing them up this past week. I personally think they should have lost that game. Dan Bailey kind of screwed him out of winning it, being the number 1 bum of the week here on the Bookie and the Beard. So, yeah, just look for the Bucs to scrape one out here against the Falcons on the road.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to scrape it out. I think it could be Bucs over Atlanta, and probably like a 31-20 victory. The Atlanta can put up points when they want to. They rarely want to, and they can play competitive. But I think hopefully Calvin Ridley gets me a touchdown. Other than that, I don't know really of anyone else on Atlanta's roster. So, or not Julio Jones, but hopefully Calvin Ridley is the one scoring this week. And yeah, I'm going to go Buccaneers 31-20.
So I'm going to. This is going to be my upset of the week. I'm going to have the Falcons winning this game. I think these two teams are two of the most streaky teams in the NFL this season. I do think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Falcons are going to win it 28-24.
How can they be streaky if they've lost 2 in a row?
Because
be streaking negative?
They're streaking negative right now, but they just beat the Raiders by 40 points 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago, and they lost 2 in a row.
We'll see. I just think that you never know what you're going to get with either of these teams. I mean, there's a few games that, the Buccaneers looked really bad. But we'll see.
But basically what Alex is saying is no football IQ. So anyway, moving on. Man that has a very high football IQ. Ryan's team here. We have the Patriots going up against the Miami Dolphins down there in Miami. Give me the Patriots to scrape one out with possibly the smartest individual in the game of football, Bill Belichick, coaching his team to a victory with Stidham as quarterback in the second half, winning 17-16. To a time is over.
So this game's gonna be interesting because, like you mentioned, the quarterback change is in play. However, Stidham did not play well earlier in the season, and that I think can be a cause for concern for the Patriots. However, the Patriots have always played rookie quarterbacks very well, and that is why I can't necessarily believe in the Dolphins. I would like for them to, especially after they played last week. But like I said, something about Belichick knows how to handle rookie quarterbacks. So I'm going to go Patriots 2017.
All right, it's to a time.
Okay.
And,
This got the floral shirt on for a reason.
Did Justin Leary join this game?
Miami.
Join this call?
Oh, that was really funny the way, he jumped on when they were up 10-0 on the group meet. You would have thought, he won the lottery or something. But no, I think Miami will have a bounce back game. I think they'll win 28-17. I think this will be the first year that the New England Patriots have a losing season in 20 or 18 years or whatever it's been. I don't know what their situation is at quarterback, whether it is Newton. It's bad all around.
Yeah, speaking of bad all around on the quarterbacks, let's go ahead and talk about Washington here because they've got no clue what they're doing with quarterbacks this week. As far as I'm concerned, Alex Smith went down with that leg injury. Is he going to come back or Dwayne Haskins going to start? We don't know. With that said, Seattle at Washington this week. Give me Washington to take a upset victory at home, 15-12 over the Seahawks, who have been looking very poor as of late.
Yeah, I think mine's contingent on who's playing quarterback. If we have Alex Smith at quarterback, I think the Redskins can win this one. If we have Dwayne Haskins, I think they're going to lose this one. Seattle's secondary has not been playing all that well, and their offense as a whole, well, they got two horses at receiver. For some reason, something's not happening right there between the two of them. So I'm going to say we're going to go with the fact that I'm going to say Alex Smith probably won't play. I'm going to go Dwayne Haskins will be in, and that concerns me enough. We're going to go Seattle over Washington, and I'm going to say 28-10.
So I'm going to go back 2 weeks to when the Giants played the Seahawks in that 17-12 win for the Giants. The offensive line for Seattle had so much trouble with that defensive line that I don't think it matters who's playing quarterback for Washington. The hope would be that we get Antonio Gibson back because, anybody can play well if Antonio Gibson is running, what he was doing before he got hurt. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game if Haskins is in. He's still got a lot to learn. He showed right spots in the game, but he also showed his immaturity when he wouldn't let go of the ball and he would just take dumb sacks. I got Washington winning this game 12-7.
Well, here's the thing: if Haskins is in, you just mentioned his sacks as well as his interceptions. Seattle's getting the ball in great field position, and that allows them to score easily if Haskins is in and doing that stuff right there. So I don't know if it's going to be necessarily a low-scoring game in that situation.
He hasn't thrown many interceptions. It's just he's taking those dumb sacks, and but the Redskins defense all game last week controlled that whole. Nick Mullins is obviously not Russell Wilson, but
and the 49ers receivers are not DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. DK Metcalf, I don't think we would necessarily have anyone that's be able to match up with that guy. That dude's
it'd be interesting to see. But then again, I didn't think the Giants had anybody to match up with. Really, it's a matter of what's going to happen at the front, or the front seven of Washington versus the offensive line of Seattle. Yeah. It's going to watch that game.
Yeah, as we can see, Alex does have below football IQ, just like the coach of this next team we're going to talk about.
Hey, hold on. Remember when I told you that Washington had one of the best defenses in the NFL. And what did you say to me then?
I don't remember.
He said just that. Washington's defensive line is legit. Those flurry of first round picks that they're able to just rotate in at every position of the offensive line is pretty studly. And it's definitely one of the weapons of the league right now.
Look at when
and it does make up for a lot of their other issues that they have on the back end. But
when you look at Kerrigan coming off the bench, I mean, stud out of Purdue. And then you look at, it makes the defensive backs jobs a lot easier. I mean, Kendall Fuller has been playing really well. Cam Curl, who took Landon Collins' spot when he got hurt. Cam Curl had his first touchdown interception, 75-yard return on Sunday. So, Chase Young being Chase Young makes everybody on that defense better. And shout out to Chase Young's mom for being on that conference call, or on that, what's it called? Press conference at the end of the game. That made me smile watching her and how proud she was of her kid.
I'm sure she's going to hear this.
I hope she does. But it made me happy to see how much he's not letting the fame get to him.
Well,
yeah. I mean, hopefully he doesn't, because he's a great player. He's going to be a star in this league, and he makes big plays at big times. I mean, as a football team fan, I want to keep him for the rest of his life, or for the rest of his, because of how impactful he is in certain situations.
Can't wait till 2050 and Jarbo's wish comes true as he's 60 years old and still on the team.
He's going to be the defensive end coach then.
Anyway, moving on, another bum team in the Chicago Bears. Looks like they've been turning around as of late, but I just don't know what Matt Nagy's doing out there. Chicago at Minnesota. Give me Minnesota in a game they need to win to have chances to make the playoffs here. Minnesota 20-14 at home against the Bears.
Give me the Bears over Minnesota, especially because the Vikings need to see in the playoffs. And, well, as someone who once met Kirk Cousins, I don't know if he's going to have what he needs for tonight, or for that game that night, or that day, rather. So I'm going to go Bears over the Vikings. The Bears are coming off a good game last week. Trubisky somehow played well. Obviously, I was kept afloat and beat Jarbo's butt using two Bears players. So I'm going to believe in the Bears. We're going to go Bears over the Vikings. I'm going to say 30-7.
All right. I'm going to agree with Danny. I'm going to take the
shocker.
It's hard because obviously, I watched Kirk Cousins in prime time and in clutch situations fall apart. As much as I want him to do well, and I want Robinson and Montgomery to have 0 points each, I just don't see that happening. I think the Bears are going to win this game 27-21.
All right. On to the next game. Minshew Mania. It's back. He's coming back this week against Lamar and the Ravens. With that said, though, Jacksonville is not a football team. They're football players with nobody coaching them. It is backyard football at its finest. And with that said, give me Baltimore in a massive, massive victory, 55-10.
Wow. I'm going to go Baltimore over Jacksonville, 27-13. I think that Minshew maybe gets a nice touchdown there to DJ Shark. But other than that, I think it'll be a quiet afternoon on the Jacksonville front.
Yeah. Baltimore 35, Jacksonville 21. I think Minshew is a pretty good quarterback, but that team is just bad. The only win that was in week 1 against the Colts. So.
Yep. anyway, on to another bad team. Philadelphia Eagles here going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Give me Philly to scrape this one out, though. 26-20. Arizona has not been looking great. I still love Kyler Murray to be a really good quarterback in the future, but he's just not all there right now. Jalen Hurts got that new spark in that team. Give me Philly this week.
I'm going to go Arizona. I think they have too many weapons to lose to a team like Philly that has lost to the Redskins. So I'll go Arizona 31-24 this week.
Yeah. Now that they've got a little bit of film on Jalen Hurts, I don't anticipate him having as good of a game as he did against the Saints. I got the Cardinals winning. We'll say 35-24.
Just moving on here, the next game we have a bad man that's got a lot of weapons out there. The number one tight end in the league, one of the fastest wide receivers in the league, one of the biggest arms in the league. The Kansas City Chiefs go up against the Drew Brees free New Orleans Saints. Taysom Hill leading that team does not look good at all. Give me Kansas City to come out firing after those 3 interceptions Pat Mahomes had, 35-17 against a weak New Orleans secondary. The money line here we have Kansas City at -200 and New Orleans at +165 with the spread at 4. Give me Kansas City to cover that and cover it by a lot. And with the over and under 51.5, give me the over this week.
Well, keep in mind this game is at home for the Saints, where they historically play much better than they play on the road. Because why play somewhere else when you can play in a dome? So I'm going to say this game is not going to be a blowout, as you seem to think. But I think that the Chiefs will win, probably in a range of, let's say, 41-28.
So a blowout.
No, that's 13 points.
I got the Chiefs winning this game as well. I think it'll be a little bit closer than even both you guys think. I think it'll be more of a 35-28 game.
What is going to make it close?
The thing is, you got
exactly low football IQ. Anyway, moving on.
To me, this could be the Super Bowl preview, in my opinion. Unless you put the Washington football team in there.
I guess the bookie went to go smoke when he disappeared at the game we predicted earlier.
No,
and tie.
Is that why?
Why did the bookie get it right?
Oh shit! Whatever.
So yeah, the bookie is the idiot.
No, the beer definitely got high. I think in our.
I think that Taysom Hill is not.
Smoke the ganja with Justin. Is that it?
Nah. No, I don't think the Saints are as bad as you guys are making them seem to be, and I don't think the Chiefs are as good as you think they are.
The Eagles, Alex. They don't have a quarterback.
I think you think the Chiefs are, the unbeatable team that nobody is ever going to touch.
Well, they've only lost one team this year, so they've only been beaten once.
Yeah, and who they've been beaten by?
The Raiders.
Exactly. So they can beat by anybody.
Raiders, so therefore the Colts are the best team in the league, right?
Oh, that's not how it works. But I think you think the Chiefs are unbeatable, and it's not how it is. I don't think the Chiefs are as good as you think they are.
Well, mind you, the Saints also lost to the Raiders by 10 points, so
that's okay.
They lost 2 more times on top of that.
I don't like the fact that I just don't think the Chiefs are as good as you. I don't think you think Pat Mahomes is the greatest thing to ever come to football, and he's not.
When have I ever said that?
I'm talking about the other one. The
dude is good. It's not there. He has arm talent.
He's good. He's just not great.
Yeah, he's better than Taysom Hill with the BYU. Let's harness finish our expectations there, but
Do you think Jameis Winston plays in this game?
probably not. Well, I'm sure he'll play on the field at some point. Does he get extended time? Probably not.
Okay. And plus, I think,
And if he does play in this game, they're definitely not winning. So,
well, not. I mean, he might throw more interceptions than actual.
I don't know. He got that LASIK surgery. He can see now.
Yeah, you can see he's throwing it.
Ability to see the future. Low football IQ.
yeah, it makes it easier for to see the Chiefs jerseys.
Or the crab legs that he stole when he was out.
God, great times.
Anyway, a game that I won't watch, 49ers at Dallas. Give me the 49ers, 21-17. What's understood doesn't need to be said. Both teams suck.
You know what? I think Dallas can win this one. I think that they aren't, granted, they're not great, but I think that they have moments where they seem to have a level of clarity where they seem to know what they're talking doing. And I think the 49ers right now are struggling a little bit. So I'm going to go Dallas. Let's go 24-21.
Yeah, I think I'm going to continue on the trend that the NFC East is the hottest division in football. I got Dallas winning this game. I'm going to say 21-17. And then we'll continue that trend in the NFC East of winning, except for the Eagles. And the Giants, I guess.
Well, if we're continuing the trend, let's go ahead and give Giants the win against Cleveland, eh?
No, I'm not doing that because Baker Mayfield is my favorite player in the NFL right now.
Why?
I don't know, man.
Because he's exciting to watch. He plays with passion. A lot of these players, you don't see them show as much passion as he has for this game and for his team. It was fun to watch last night, seeing the Cleveland Browns fans that were there. I don't know if you could hear, but the stadium sounded like it was full.
I don't know. You saw the guy crying at the end of the game, but that really puts a good picture for the Browns up there.
Yeah, I don't know if you if it's a TV thing, but that stadium sounded so loud during those last couple drives.
Yeah, if you turn your TV up loud enough, it sounds real loud.
I didn't have my TV up loud. Thank you very much.
If you put your headphones on, it sounds real loud.
I felt like I was there.
Hey, if you sit close to the TV as well, it's like you're in the action. It's like you're actually sitting in the stands.
No, but I love Baker and the way that he's playing. He's playing well. He's got a two-headed monster at running back with Chubb and Hunt. He's got a pretty good tight end in Njoku. I think he's got a great team, and I just think he's having fun playing ball. I mean, nobody likes to lose.
Sounds like you talked about Baker there's giving you a little chub, eh?
I can see your Nick Chubb on my screen right now.
Actually, that was my favorite last week. Last year, wasn't it?
I don't know.
With Chubb.
I didn't pay attention because your team sucked back then too. All right, so I'm gonna change. I'm gonna allow us to listen to someone else talk here. So I'm gonna say that that Cleveland Indians aren't going to be the only team becoming the Steamers this week, as the Browns are also going to get steamed by the Giants. Give me the Giants to beat the Browns. I'm going to say 17-14. It's going to be an ugly game. I get Baker, whatever, but that's going to be the reason why they lose. I mean, don't get me wrong. With Kareem Hunt on your team, you're always bound to knock someone out. But I think this time it's the Giants that are going to do the kicking versus the Browns.
Go ahead, Dylan.
I'm going to keep going here with Alex riding Baker. Give me the Browns in a big win, 42-17. He's got one of the cleanest. He's got a better slide than the Cleveland Indians players have. I mean, I don't know if you saw the slide when he was taking the pictures of his receiver that was putting on a show in the end zone the other day. But, yeah, give me Baker and them boys to come out with a big victory.
Let's be clear. You're picking the Browns because Baker Mayfield knows how to slide for a celebration. Jesus. Man, this thing is boogie there, big guy.
So I got the Browns winning this game.
Play good if you're not having fun. You can't have fun if you're not playing good. That's what it comes down to. GM ball.
All right, there.
Man, they're having fun playing. I got the Browns winning this game. I would say 28-10. If Daniel Jones plays, if Colt McCoy plays, it'll be 28-17.
What? You're giving them more points?
Yeah,
you're reducing the Browns. Is Colt McCoy playing safety as well? How are you reducing the Browns?
No. Did you see that game last week?
Yeah, but I want to understand how the Browns are going from 35 to 28 because Colt McCoy's playing.
No, they're only going to get another touchdown. No, I just don't think. I mean, I think Colt McCoy is actually better than Daniel Jones. I do.
Guess we'll see.
Daniel Jones might be the fastest quarterback in the NFL, though.
Guess we'll see.
But
anyway,
yeah,
we have the money line here at -200 for the Browns, and then we have +165 for the Giants. This might be a potential upset here, but I just don't understand how the Browns are going to be able to blow this one. Spread at 3.5. Give me Cleveland to cover, and then over and under at 45.5. Don't know what the sports books are doing if they're predicting a defensive game here, but it's at 45.5. I'm gonna go ahead and take the over.
So before we move on from Cleveland, I just want to bring up. I think they missed a really good opportunity when LeBron went back to Cleveland to call themselves the LeBron's James. That would have been pretty good, I think, for marketing ploy.
I guess when he goes back to Cleveland, once LA doesn't want him anymore.
Yeah, I wonder what LeBron's going to have to say whenever they start calling the Cleveland Indians the Cleveland Baker Mayfields.
Steamers.
The LeBron James.
The LeBron's James.
Flop James. Anyway, moving on. Last game of the week, Monday night football. It's going to be a big, tough game for Big Ben. Steelers going up against Cincinnati. Give me the Steelers to come out with a victory in a very, very good game, 17-13.
It's a very good game. It was a 2-touchdown where they scored 3 touchdowns between the two teams. I love that.
It's a game out there in Pittsburgh. That's the way they are. Rough and tumble.
I'm going to say that Pittsburgh wins. Pittsburgh's got some issues. We didn't really cover that earlier, but Pittsburgh has some issues with drops and with their players focusing too much on their TikTok dances at midfield. Luckily, this
Buffalo Bills logo.
Exactly. So I think that's an issue for the team. However, I think that Mike Tomlin has always shown to be a really good coach in times when it doesn't seem that way. So I'm going to say that the Pittsburgh will win. Juju probably doesn't dance this week because Tomlin tells him to worry about catching footballs versus dancing. So I'm going to say Steelers win.
LeBron to stop eating popcorn before the game.
Exactly. So Steelers over the Bengals, 28-3.
All right, I got Steelers winning this game pretty easily as well. I think after the game you'll see Juju dancing on that logo.
Yeah, but not before.
But not before. Just because it's been bad the last 2 weeks. He's been made fun of constantly on social media. I saw Barstool put something up. It'll be probably 35-10 in my opinion. I think they'll get some of their stuff back, their mojo back, just because it is the Bengals. Anybody can get their mojo back against the Bengals. So yeah, it's not even going to be a close game. I think they should have flexed that to a 1 o'clock game and put something else there.
I don't think they can flex it because it's Monday night.
Yeah, but it's the Bengals. They suck. We should do whatever we want to do, like in Ohio. I mean, it is Ohio. Ohio State in the Big Ten.
True. Good point.
Yeah, we're not even going to open up that can of worms here on this episode, but maybe in the future. Money line is at -770 for the Steelers and +500 for the Bengals. So the sports books are predicting a huge win here. They got the spread at 12.5, so they're giving Cincinnati 12.5 points. I don't understand how the Steelers are going to be able to cover this. They do not look good at all, and they're thinking it's going to be a tough defensive game, just like me. They put the over and under 40.5, and I'm taking the under this week. So you never see the sports books wrong necessarily, but I don't know what they're doing. If they had some adjustins in Alex's ganja or what they were doing, but yeah,
Hey.
for a good game and the Steelers to edge one out here against the Bengals this week. And that pretty much wraps it up this week on the Bookie and the Beard. I'm thankful that the Neckbeard, aka the commissioner, was able to join us today and answer some questions and give us a little bit of input on the NFL for Week 15. Yeah, I'm excited for this upcoming week of football. And guys, was there anything else you wanted to add to this week?
Yeah, it was a pleasure to join you all on this episode and to show the people what they're truly missing each week when they listen to this podcast, and that's me in their lives. So please be sure to listen, hit that like button, and press subscribe, because Dylan said he's going to give me all the money to make all this episode. So I'm looking to get rich. I just bought an Xbox. I got to be able to fund that somehow. So again, make sure you listen. If they do well, of course, they'll have me back, and you can listen to more of my great input, feedback, whatever you want to call it. But until next time, when I inevitably come back on the show, it's been a good run, and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Danny, thanks for coming, and I look forward to having everybody, all of our friends on. Eventually, you were the first one.
Yeah, well, we know I'm number one. Let's be honest.
It's because
you want to go ahead and mention our Instagram real quick here.
So Instagram page, it's just the Bookie and the Beard. That's what it is.
Bookie and Beard podcast, I believe.
I look forward to having everybody else join. Maybe one time later on we can have a bigger group of people, and it would be chaotic, but it'd be a lot of fun. It'd be like the Bills. It'd be that backyard style. But next week, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we've got another special guest.
Yeah, we're currently working on it. I don't want to mention it right away, but we are working on getting another one of Alex's friends on the podcast here. He actually joined.
Wait, I'm coming back next week too?
Recording,
Well, I'm going to go pull a Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, anyway, if you want to help us out and help support Danny's fund here for his Xbox, be sure to go support us using the link anchor.fm /the Bookie and the Beard /support to donate 99 cents, $4.99 or $9.99 per month to help us keep going and keep motivated and keep bringing on new guests like Danny here. I know this was a fun week, so I'm glad he was able to join us. And we do have a YouTube channel now that we are doing these Zoom calls, so we are putting our videos up on the YouTube. It's just the Bookie and the Beard. So look out for that, and we should have a special guest joining us next week as well. And that's pretty much it this week.